I'm very intuitive. I'll listen to what I need. I was quite deep in my tears and fear. I will reach out and try and work it out the best I can. That's what dancing, pole dancing was doing for me. It gave me so much strength. It gave me a sense of self-permission, if you like, to be sexy when I wanted to be sexy, or be silly when I wanted to be silly, or work hard on something. Even though I'd been doing that for so many years, I had no idea where this was going to bring me. I'm just so incredibly proud of my body and myself as to where I am today.
Kim, hey, welcome, and thank you for joining Jo and I today.
Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to having a bit of a chat and hopefully have a bit of a laugh.
Kim, what's a moment that changed everything for you?
4 months ago, I had a double mastectomy, and that was through early detection on our mammograms that we have, and it was a change that happened over 8 months, so it was quite quick. I started off with dense breast tissue that led me on to ultrasounds, and then further biopsies to identify the calcifications that I'd developed in both my breasts. They look like little stars. They're like, one of my friends described it like the stars are aligning and Saturn versus Jupiter and all being there and inside your breast tissue. But it's the calcifications that if they group up together too much, they want to then do biopsies to check the cells and see what's going on. So I had that done, and it came back as not cancer, but that something had to happen. So I could take medication for a few years, wait and see, or have a double mastectomy. And because it was in both breasts, after a bit of research and looking into that, I decided double mastectomy.
Well, that must have been quite a shock.
Yeah, it was a shock. And you're listening to the doctor telling you all this stuff, and actually at the time we'd booked a trip overseas. Oh, does this mean we can't go on that? But it wasn't an urgent thing, but it didn't mean to just leave it either. The surgeon was happy for things to be left until July. So we went on our May trip, came home, and my surgery was 24th of July.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a shock. So on the holiday, it was a bit of processing there, and I found myself meeting new people, and they're asking where you're from and what's going on, and over the week or two you get to know them, and then I found myself thinking, I really want to tell someone. So it was a really good place to start, was on this boat cruise, to confide in a couple of the ladies that I'd met, which was a really good thing.
What was the fear that sat around when you got that diagnosis and then you had to choose which path of treatment you would go down?
I didn't like the look of the medication. That seemed to come with its own troubles, but that was just my personal research. So I find that I'll cast my net wide and start doing a lot of researching and digging around and finding out the best information for me. So when I did decide it was going to be the double mastectomy, it was about my body image and my sexuality, and would my husband find me attractive? Because what this meant was, even though there are options around mastectomies, what I was getting done was having my breast tissue removed, but being a double D size to start with, I had enough fat and skin left over where they were going to make new boobs. That's called the Goldilocks procedure, but unfortunately with that one, I couldn't keep my nipples.
Oh.
So, thinking about that and then seeing how that unfolded on reliable resources online to just check out how did they do this, because I don't tend to just take the information and go, okay, go and have a bit of a research. My hubby was researching as well and diving deep. That's good and bad, because you're seeing the worst end, you're seeing the middle and the good end. The biggest fear for me was definitely my body image changing.
How did you process that, Kim? What did you do with it? And what were the actual feelings that sat with all of that for you?
Oh, they were very deep feelings. There was a lot of crying and a lot of tears and a lot of ringing up to talk to the nurses or the counsellor in the Fiona Stanley Hospital. They had a lot of resources. You ring and make these appointments and they ring you back and you're just bawling your eyes out because you're just so scared. But honestly, sitting down and just looking at how can I help myself here, like fear was just such a huge motivator. It just pushed me into gear of looking at what can I do to help myself, and sitting up late at night or getting up too early in the morning because I had things rolling in my head. I started researching and looking at things. I thought, well, my body image is a problem. I'll start with the nurse and see what she thinks. And it was the McGrath Foundation nurse, Liz, who said that perhaps a sex therapist would be a good choice.
Okay.
She sent me a whole list of all the sex therapists in WA, and I sat through and read every single one and picked one in Geraldton and just did a couple of Zoom meetings with her. And that I found that quite useful. Being a sex therapist, Tim was a little bit like, oh, okay, put on the spot. But it was good for him too, because it included my hubby into the conversation to understand what this was meaning for me, because, well, my hubby particularly just thought, I just want them off, get them off. They're going to hurt her, get them out.
Right.
Whereas I'm like, yeah, I do want to be better. I don't want to have this, but I also have worked really hard to feel sexy, feel confident, and be who I am. And part of that journey for me also has been like 12 years of pole dancing, and that in itself holds a lot of sexual sense of self and being confident and moving around the pole and being upside down. And I thought, I'm going to lose everything I've trained so hard for in the last 12 years, 13 years. So I engaged with the sex therapist and counsellors and the nurse, the McGrath Foundation nurse, and the surgical nurse attached to my surgeon's rooms. And I found humour was a big part of dealing with this fear as well. Before I knew it, I was having a lot of booby parties. I was practising on my friends at my scrapping weekend away, and I made a big party up with all biscuits with boobs and boob voyage and shitty titty be gone. And did cakes, made up a great big set of boobs to get photos with everybody as I could, even the surgeon, although he wasn't that keen. I did learn he's a breast surgeon but not a boob man, but he still did it. Have a little party with my girlfriends on a separate occasion. I had all my bras up. We burnt bras. I put messages in my bras, addressed all those worries and concerns like, why me? I'm too old. I'm no good anymore. This is going to make me ugly. All those horrible thoughts, self-limiting beliefs that we hold. And I popped them all in the bras, and my girlfriends and I burnt these bras. FYI, don't burn bras. They're full of plastic and they stink. And it sounds like such a good idea, but it's so horrid. We've tried to engage in the moment, and then in the end it's like, it's good, but we've got something else we can get on with.
It's a great visual, though, Kim, can I say?
Yeah. And I also got moulds done of my breasts, so I'll make some pot plant holders out of those later with some clay. And I did a journal, and I talked to my husband, of course, and we had to really get honest about how he was feeling about some things. So he's risen to the occasion. Incredible, such good support. And reaching out to family and knowing that my daughters are there and my sister. One of the big key factors that I knew whether or not I was really coping very well with having my mastectomy, and it was only a week away. I do post on Facebook. I like the engagement, but it's not my life. I did notice that if I didn't post something to just sort of go, okay, this is what's happening to me, because I do like to share because it might help someone else, it was a calibration of whether or not my mental health was in a good space. And I thought, if I haven't posted something by Monday, which surgery was a few days later, I know I'm in a worse state of denial and fear than I realised. And it wasn't the only goal of my life was to put something on Facebook. I just knew that I would want to share. And if I wasn't going to share, then I was hiding under a rock. And I didn't like that about that for me. Thankfully, I came through and I did pop something up. And funny enough, the first post wasn't anything about my mastectomy. It was about a letter from me to my little self.
Oh, really?
Yep. In the end, that just tipped off my whole album called The Unboobening, The Great Unboobening, my album on Facebook. And it's just the whole journey of that experience.
You've got an incredible way of finding the right path at the right time to support you being really, really self-accepting.
100%. I'm very intuitive. I'll listen to what I need. As much as I was quite deep in my tears and fear, I will reach out and try and work it out the best I can. That's what dancing, pole fitness was doing for me. It gave me so much strength. It gave me a sense of self-permission, if you like, to be sexy when I wanted to be sexy, or be silly when I wanted to be silly, or work hard on something to get that trick or that move. So even though I'd been doing that for so many years, I also did not realise, I'd had no idea where this was going to bring me to where I am today. What I have learned out of all this is that nothing is a waste of time, and that we have dealt with these things for a reason. I'm just so incredibly proud of my body now and myself as to where I am today. It's just phenomenal. What I'm getting at is that building up to my surgery, I made sure that I was as fit as I could be. I popped on an extra couple of kilos to have the fat in my boobs and make sure I could get the outcome I wanted. That was a lot of pre-having exercise, which I was already doing, but I was just being more conscious about it. Then had the surgery, and when they come around after your surgery and you're about to go home, they bring you a piece of paper with 2 weeks worth of arm exercises. They're really good, but I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll do these, but surely there's a bit more I can do. And they're pretty much just extensions of your arms out the front, crawling up the wall, bringing them back, up behind your back, bringing them up over your head and around. So when I got home and I thought, well, I better start doing these exercises, and I have my own pole studio. While I'm standing in there, I always video my movements because I like movement and making sure that my range is good. So I'm videoing these simple little exercises. And when I started looking back at my videos, I went, you know, this looks a little bit like burlesque moves, and I do have feather fans. And even though I can't climb the pole, I think these feather fans will be really good. And so I started to think, well, I'll go put on my fancy outfits and then come out and get my feathers, and then I'll do these moves. And every move, I could feel it. I've still got drains in for 3 weeks. I could still feel my scars pulling. I had to be careful how I did it, but I was doing the range of motions. But just this time, now I'm doing it with feather fans, dressed up, makeup, hair's done, getting back to me. And I couldn't believe it. I've got videos in my album of me moving and dancing around the pole with drains hanging out, getting my range of motion through the style that I was used to was just gold. So then that put me into the mode of thinking, well, maybe I can do a few more things. So as the drains started coming out and dressing started coming off, I had one last lot of suction patch dressings. They kind of softened down to a foam and they stay on for a couple of weeks, these patches, and they look like a pair of bikinis over the boobs. I got my friend to decorate those with stickers and stars the day before I was getting them taken off. They look like mermaid boobs then. Then I went and sat on the rock and had a photo shoot on the rock with the dog with the nice sparkly blanket, and I looked like a mermaid. Bit by bit, I just found that silliness, and even though I was feeling messy, feeling yucky, crying most days, but then happy to go do that. It was so erratic, but still doing it. Those sort of things helped me a lot.
Celebrating who you are, Kim, and true to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was killing me not to be me. But then if I didn't do this, have this double mastectomy, it was going to kill me to stay me eventually. My risk factor was very high.
Just before, when you were doing the sort of the ceremonial burning of the bras and having these boob cakes, was there moments where you began to see small glimpses that it was going to be different for you on the other side, but you were still going to be essentially you? Or did you need to actually go through the surgery to get in touch with, I'm different, but I'm still me?
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of surreal. Like I wanted to play out all these rituals or moments to have the memory of having done it, because I did a lot of looking at other ladies and how they processed and did things, and different ideas came forward. And I thought, yeah, every chance I get, I want to engage people into this experience I'm going to go through, not to shove it down to people's necks, but just it could start conversation. And it did. That's where my big fake boobs that I made, I'd take them to every function the month before surgery and just see if people would take photos. I had photos with strangers. They'd go, what's that all about? And, oh, well, I've got to get double mastectomy. And they go, oh, really? And then, oh, well, have you had your mammogram? No, I haven't. Well, go get a mammogram. I'm a nurse as well, so you're always on the health promotion front. Even though it was a lot of humour to try and get through it, I really didn't know what I was going to look like. And that's where I was really scared about looking hideous to my hubby. My breasts played a big part in our sexuality, in our sex. That really scared me. I really didn't want to look at my breasts, my chest area post-op when all the dressings came off. Burst into tears. I had a fantastic treatment room nurse who had a little student there, and she got the whole kahuna of experience of me. Bless her little cotton socks. It took me 2 days to look at myself. And this is where the sex therapist was very good with Tim, because one of her questions was to my husband was, Tim, what do you think Kim should be doing immediate post-op to accept her body? And he says, oh, straight away, get in there and have a look. And she said, right, well, it may not be what she wants. And he went, oh, click. Then he understood why I was crying so much and up all night worrying and what's this going to mean. When I did eventually look at myself, I stood in the bathroom and Tim was just about to walk past and I just dropped my towel and went, ta-da! He just goes, he told me from the beginning, the day they took the dressings off, they look so good. So I always knew he felt that they looked fantastic. And they do. I've never shown my boobs off so much. I'm showing all sorts of people these little boobies I've got now. They're great. And I probably should stop doing it now. But it's interesting. Lots of people have seen them.
And that's part of you coming into yourself again, Kim, and you really valuing and accepting and loving yourself again.
That's right. Another thing I did before surgery was I had some professional photos done of my breasts and my nipples because I knew I was losing them. The follow-up to that will be me getting another set of photos done now without nipples. And then there'll come a time where if I choose, I can go and get some nipples tattooed on. I'll do some photography for that as well. And I've got an online photo book that I'm starting to put my journey on into instead of scrapping it because it'll be such a big thing to do. I'm doing it online. So once I get all these after tattooing photos done, I'll have myself a little coffee book and all the photos of all the people who took photos with my fake boobs.
You've gone from lack of self-love to some degree, right back before your pole dancing.
Yep.
To not only do you have self-love, but you've notched it up by having real pride. That's what I'm hearing you saying. You're actually very proud of your new look.
I am. I love it. I can pole dance in a bikini top and nothing falls out. Wonderful. My big fear was firstly going back to surgery. I was scared about relinquishing control to the surgeons and people having what they needed to do to me on the table while I was unconscious. I hated that thought. It really bothered me. So having a truthful conversation with the anaesthetist, he recognised that and so he drugged me up. So we have a saying in nursing, you can't fix stupid, but you can drug it. So, I was really glad about that. Then, of course, I managed to get through that and realised I woke up okay and had a couple of nights in hospital and then came back home and it all worked out. Then I realised pretty quickly, because I'm pretty active, I didn't like not being active. I just wanted to get moving. I'd just do little dances with my drains, not do too much. And then joined a friend who promotes health and wellbeing, and she was doing a 10-day health challenge, which I couldn't really participate, but I wanted to be part of a group. So I joined into that and just kept going from there. And I thought, well, movement's important to me, feeling good, looking good. I made sure nutrition was a part of it all, good sleep, hydration, and what can I do? And my Facebook one was a big one because that brought people out from the under rocks like no one's business to connect with me, to share their stories or privately tell me something or just get in there and have their say on my pictures. Never had one negative comment. I was really grateful. It did come from an authentic space, so maybe that's the difference. I'm not sure. Having that community outside of my home when there were days when Tim did go back to work and I was here by myself, that was important. I also allowed people to come and visit. I never said no to anyone coming. If they wanted to come visit and see me, I was happy about that. So I set up a little space in our shed because it was winter, a nice little fireplace with photos of family, old family photos and albums. And I just made it really cozy. And I just thought, well, I'm going to be stuck on this couch for a little bit. So it's made a bit of a nester.
Oh, it's just, I'm loving hearing everything that you were doing, Kim, and you intuitively knew everything you needed. You needed community connection. You valued that. You needed movement. Was there a little bit of faking it till you make it, Kim? My heart's not in it, but I know that I'm moving towards that.
Yeah, I don't like faking it till I make it. If I'm not up for it, you won't hear from me. You won't see me. And when I'm up for it, I'm in it. So that was really important to be as I went along and realised that my prehabbing and my strength before was so important that I knew I was going to progress quite well that by week 4, when I was asking the surgeon, can I please do a plank? And he goes, what's a plank? He's gorgeous, done a great job. I'm happy and proud of him as a surgeon. But once he said, I don't know what's a plank, and he looked it up and said, no, not for 12 weeks. And I went, oh, okay, thank you. No, thanks. Sweet, right? I'm going to go to the physio. I went and found myself a pole physio specialist. There's an actual company that does that. They're pole dancers, and it's their jam. They go to all the shows, and they're there for the dancers who need any physio advice, but they have this service online. So I went in there and I decided to choose someone to talk to online and picked this gorgeous girl called Ellie, and she does circus. So that's a bit of a clown. So that looked really good to me. And we've been communicating and dealing with each other since I was 5 weeks post-op. And she was able to give me other exercises and stretches to do. There was no way I was getting back on the pole just yet, and I knew that, but I could stand near it and wiggle my bum. The pole physio helped me to get some exercises up and running. I'm now still using her each month, and I'm back upside down doing all sorts of things.
Wow.
Also included in that is a really good friend, Joanna, who is a pole teacher that I've gone to, and she would help me on the side when I had little questions. So I made sure I reached out to different ones to give me the care that I needed. I didn't want to lose what I had had. That strength was super important to keep.
Essentially, if your heart wasn't in it, you didn't do it. And I love that. So you really, really listen to your body. You
Really.
listen to perhaps your emotions, your soul. And if they weren't aligned, you didn't do it.
No. And that comes down to food as well. I eat fairly well, and but I still listen to what I needed. You're not moving as much. You don't necessarily need that kind of food group, depending on what you're doing. If you're exercising more, you need more food. If you're not exercising as much, you don't need as much, but you still need to choose the right food to heal.
Kim, I really want to go to the point you said in those moments there was lots of processing going on and dealing with your feelings. How did you navigate that? What did you do in those moments on your own when you're going, I don't want to connect?
It was 2:00 in the morning, and I'd get onto ChatGPT and ask a question.
Okay.
And I got such good answers. Stuff that just helped me to understand things. And then I'd just start journaling. So I made a journal. It's called Thanks for the Memories.
Love it.
I just got writing. And then Tim had come looking for me, and sometimes he'd find me in tears, and sometimes he'd find me laughing, and sometimes who knew what was going to be happening. It was just such a bloody emotional journey. Mostly it was 2:00 in the morning, not being able to sleep. And then if I knew that I had friends coming to visit, I never cancelled it because it was still something to look forward to. Even though I might have felt like shit at 2:00 in the morning, I didn't feel like that. It wasn't all day. It was only an ebb and flow. It was a moment. And people make you feel better.
Do you think, Kim, that because you allowed yourself to be exactly what you were in any given moment, that actually helped you to work through it?
Yep. And I was vulnerable. So even with my children and my sister, I made a group chat and said, I want to share how things are going for me on this day-to-day stuff, if you like. That was a big thing because as a mum, for me, I don't think it's my spot to really lay this on my kids, even though they're young adults. Who wants to hear it? But it turned out they do want to hear it because one of them was FIFO, the other one was local, my sister was travelling. So there's 2 out of 3 that couldn't actually be physically with me. It was only fair to share information so that they could understand.
A safe place for you to share was with your girls and your sister. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Kim, it sounds to me as though you were travelling 3 or 4 journeys at once, almost.
No, there's more than that.
Okay. So how did you stay in the right lane at the right time for each of those corresponding journeys that were intertwined?
Just picked one and stayed in that lane for that day and just plodded through each moment as it came, like letting yourself feel what you've got to feel. I couldn't do much else but just let myself rest and heal. It kind of makes you stop, doesn't it? There wasn't a lot of choice except to put myself, as much as I could, put myself first. And that's what I've kept doing, to be honest. I've stopped worrying about what other problems are going on that I've been worried about, and focusing on my health and my fitness and my strength. And now I'm actually 3 weeks into my practical of learning how to be a personal trainer.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I didn't know if I was going to get there because I thought I might have been a little bit jumping the gun a bit early, but it's not been a problem at all.
So, Kim, early on, as part of the process leading up to the surgery, it seemed like there was that fear of who am I on the other side of this?
Yeah.
Tell us about that journey to get to know Kim on the other side. Have you learnt who you are yet?
Who am I? I'm very keen to keep strength. I know that's super important. And I thought I had that nailed pre-op. But having gone through how to actually get stronger post-operatively with the support of a professional such as Ellie from Pole Physio, she's taught me a lot about, how to carefully get stronger, and that it's the little things that make the biggest difference for your body. My body shape has changed since engaging these correct exercises, because my polling days before that was a little bit of warm up and a little bit of this and a lot of strength and a lot of go and having fun. But now I realise, well, a lot of it's in the behind the scenes of muscle development and movement and how to do those properly and safely. And that's why I want to become a PT now. That was Kim, who thought she had that under wraps and she thought she knew fitness and health, but I actually am way ahead of the game now, and I've never been fitter and stronger and healthier ever.
Wow.
Last year, let alone, never mind having a double mastectomy, I actually had a lot of stresses going on with work and family and stuff that I was navigating. My lanes are pretty clear now. Stress had a lot to do with my initial outcome of surgery, but I don't have those worries. I've worked through those, and I realise you cannot let your body just be hammered like that. You've got to take control and understand what to worry about and what not to worry about.
On the other side is a stronger Kim, or a very strong physically strong Kim. Tell us about emotionally and self. Who are you within yourself on the other side?
Very settled, really, really settled. I don't ruminate over things as much as I did. I sleep better. I always take on board what's to be said to me from professionals, but I really, really made it work and try and understand what it is that I, still similar to what I was doing, but just amped up a little more, just more aware, stronger, really interested in myself, in my health and my well-being, and making sure that if I need to do something, I do it. I don't feel selfish. I don't feel worried about hurting somebody's feelings because I can't go and do that. I'll say no. I will check if it's something I want to do. And if I have to cancel a plan because I need rest, I'll do that. Whereas probably before surgery, I would have ran around a bit more. I love my own company way more. We live on 10 acres in the country, and with 3 cows and a goat and a dog, and I'll spend days here by myself and quite happy. But I do have my study to keep me pretty busy. So maybe if I didn't have that, I'd be wandering around trying to look for some company, but I like my own company a lot more.
The journey has been one that what it started out to be is not what it's ended up.
No, no, it's not as scary as it starts off. Look, everybody's journey is different. Depends how they start. I really think if you can get yourself into as healthy a state pre-op, mentally it's hard because you've got all this information being thrown at you and people you're suddenly seeing and people you don't want to be anywhere near because it's just not what you want to be looking at. If you can get yourself as healthy pre-op and then keep moving post-op, movement is everything for the mental health. And I had a lot of mental health challenges last year, and I did not want to go back to that. So I'll be clawing my way up out of the hole as much as possible before I'll, feel as bad as I did last year. It's funny what gets thrown in your path. All I can really say is I'm just way happier with myself now than I was before.
So Kim pre-op was worried about losing this beautiful, feminine, sexy self. Post-op, how does that sense of self look now, that feminine, sexy sense of self?
Well, I've just had to get on Temu a little bit more and buy new outfits because nothing fits me up the top. So you can buy some cool stuff. It's the same. It hasn't defined me at all. So I can still be sexy. I can still move. I made sure I kept up my pole movements, the music, my flow, my heels. It hasn't changed. It's all there.
You talked about your mental health before was not in necessarily the best place. Talk to us about back then and what it's like now.
No comparison. When it's a situational crisis in your mind, you've got to obviously let that run its course, and that can take time, especially when it's just a confusing issue to start with and you're wondering, well, how did it get from zero to hero all of a sudden? So time has obviously helped all that. I shone through with that too for my mental health. I didn't just sit down. I still got up at 4:30. I still went out for walks, and that was definitely really hard. But getting through all that, having that experience, I knew I could do it. This mental health with the surgery was a different kind of stress. I knew I had it in me to pull myself through it. So last year was pretty tough, but I made it. I made it on the other side anyway.
Well done. Kim, what role did grief play for you in this process?
Massive amount. Yep. That's where the sex therapist was important for working through that, and general counselling, and just crying my eyes out to Tim, waking up, just bawling my eyes out in the middle of the night. He got very good at that. You know, sometimes guys don't know what to do with a crying woman. Yeah, he's good at that. I can rent him out. He's nailed it.
I don't know whether you should have said that, Kim. You might have very many people contacting you.
So, yeah, it was a massive part, and it was a big motivator because I didn't like the feeling of that. Grief isn't a nice feeling.
So where are you with that grief now? Where does that sit?
I'm okay with it, but if I'm to be honest, I miss my nipples in sex. It's just not there. And there'd be a time when I know my size of the boobs would have just been a part of that game, you know, and they're not there. So I miss that, but it doesn't interfere with day-to-day. Doesn't interfere with the outcome.
What you're describing is that you've got very changed circumstances. You've got your pre-mastectomy versus post. We've got to learn how to do it again, and we've got to also learn where the obstacles are and where the good bits are, and I guess that's no different for your journey, is it? No,
that's right. Seeing yourself got scars and stuff, and I'm still having to massage those. I'm really grateful that I don't look at my body and think, oh, yuck, I can't. I know women who can't do massaging of their own scars because they don't like touching them. It's such an important part. Otherwise, they stay lumpy and horrid. So the scar line just doesn't settle down properly. So it's important to do that. But doing that helps you connect to your body to appreciate and accept what you've got. They're not perfect. They're little mounds. They do the job. But I have what I have now. And it's no good hating it. You just got to enjoy it. And look, when we're 80, 90, we're going to look back and go, what was I worried about? Should have worn more flowers.
If you could go and sit next to Kim pre-op in that 2:00 grief moment, what would you say to her from the other side?
Keep doing what you're doing because it's okay. Just keep going. I had intrinsically what I needed from growing up in the country, and the experiences that we had with that was all there to help me lay this foundation to this point in my life where I had to make this decision to have my breasts removed. I would, say to her, it's going to be okay. And it doesn't have to define me. It did mess with my head a little bit because that's motherhood. And what does that mean now? That's, it's the ultimate insult to removing parts of you as a mother, but it doesn't have to be like that. So I just hold her hand and just say, it's going to be fine. You're doing all right. You've got the good attitude. I remember seeing things as a kid and knowing what was going on and seeing it and understanding how wrong it was or how good it was. And I've always carried that ability in my whole life. I really think everything I've gone through from birth to now has just been a pathway to where I am now. Nothing is a waste of time, is it? What can I tell her? Keep going. It's all right. Eat well. Stop drinking. Don't smoke that cone.
Oh, Kim, I just love hearing your strength. I love hearing your vulnerability, and that those two things can sit alongside one another. I think that we often tend to think, if I'm this vulnerable, grief-stricken person, how can I find strength? And you're showing us that they can actually walk alongside at times. You've shown us that you've been able to have both, and your humour, and important for you to celebrate who you are.
People give or take you, right? And if we just lay in our shadows, then we'll be dead one day.
But I also think, Kim, it's so nice to hear someone's truth, because that allows others to also be in their truth, no matter what that is. So that to me has been such a gift in listening to you today.
Oh, thank you. When you're looking down the barrel of surgery or something like that, do what you can to get those memories, because we can delete a photo just like that. So if you don't like it, you can just delete it. But if you don't take it and you don't do the moment, you don't have it.
Mm.
Celebrate, take it, do whatever makes you feel happy, and enjoy whatever you want to do.
So inspiring hearing your story, Kim, and hearing you on the other side and what you would say sitting next to your pre-op self. I'm curious, what's been the greatest gift of this experience?
Getting fitter and feeling well and meeting new people. Look, I'm off doing a PT training course. I'm meeting these people, and I'm in a big fancy gym in Mount Lawley on every Thursday night going, what am I doing here? But headphones are getting bigger, by the way.
So perhaps one of the gifts has been finding yourself on the other side of it. Has that been part of that?
Yeah, and still wanting to learn something new and challenge myself. Could have easily hidden away and thought, this is it. I'm 55. There's no more. I'm done. But I didn't want to. I still want to get out there and challenge myself to see if I can fit into a new environment and still give something to offer and learn something and take it away and share it. I don't like getting stagnant.
So it seems like there was that fear on the other side of surgery. You weren't sure what your life would look like, but what you found on the other side is life still going on, if not getting better, and you're finding new parts of yourself and new strengths.
100%, Jo. Yep, that's exactly it.
Wow.
There's lots there to be had as long as you can be brave.
Jump off that cliff sometimes and recognise that there's more than you ever thought possible.
Yep.
Yeah. So in closing, Kim, what would be your tips for others?
Fear is going to be there. And so long as you can do it, acknowledge it and take it on head on with support and a bit of cheekiness, you can get through it. Self-love, self-worth. Get up, put your makeup on, move, listen to some good tunes, love someone.
Yeah. Beautiful tips. Thank you so much, Kim, for your time, hearing the story of bravery, of strength, of meeting yourself on the other side and seeing just how strong you are coming through this experience. Thank you so much of your gift of sharing to others, because I know it'll mean a lot to people listening.
That's okay. I've enjoyed my time with you both.
Okay, that's our episode for today of What's Fear Got to Do with It. Thanks so much for your company. We hope you found it insightful and it left you with some helpful tips from our guests and some great points for you to reflect on. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Substack or follow us on your favourite platform and leave a review. We'd love to know your thoughts. Maybe you'd like to be a guest, or you know someone who you would like to hear their story. Reach out to us on Insta at whatsfear_podcast or email us at info@whatsfear.com. All the guests' show notes are below, and until next time, from Jo and I, take care, stay curious and keep the conversation going.